nitoke asema mimi waliniita saa 3:30 nilikuwa bunge.
Sergeant at Arms, can you ring the quorum bell for further 10 minutes? Order, honorable senators, we do have quorum now, so we will proceed with the afternoon's business. Clerk, kindly call the first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages.
Senator Mundigi, kindly take your seat. Now, honorable senators, I wish to report to the Senate that pursuant to Standing Order 46.3, I received the following message from the Speaker of the National Assembly regarding the passage by the National Assembly of the Basic Education Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 59 of 2023. The message dated Friday, 19th of December 2025, was received in the office of the Clerk of the Senate on Monday, 5th January 2026. Now, pursuant to Standing Order 46.4, I now report the message. Pursuant to Article 110.4 of the Constitution and the provisions of the Standing Order 41.1 and 142 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the following message from the National Assembly. Whereas the Basic Education Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 59 of 2023, was published by Kenya Gazette Supplement number 166 of 13th of September 2023 as a bill seeking to provide for the establishment of sub-county education boards in every sub-county, and whereas the National Assembly considered and passed the bill with amendments on Wednesday, 19th of November 2025 in the form attached hereto, now therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Article 110 of the Constitution and Standing Orders 41.1 and 142 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the said decision of the National Assembly and seek concurrence of the Senate on the said bill. Now, Honorable Senator, Standing Order 163.1 requires that a bill which originates in the National Assembly be proceeded with in the same manner as a bill introduced in the Senate by way of first reading in accordance with Standing Order 144. Accordingly, I direct that the Basic Education Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 59 of 2023 be listed in the order paper for the first reading at the appropriate time. I thank you. I've got another message to pass. Honorable Senators, I wish to report to the Senate that pursuant to Standing Order 46.3, I received the following message from the Speaker of the National Assembly regarding the passage by the National Assembly of the Public Service Internship Bill, National Assembly Bills number 63 of 2022. The message, dated Tuesday, 6th of January 2026, was received in the office of the Clerk of the Senate on Thursday, 22nd of January 2026, when the Senate was on recess. It was subsequently circulated to all honorable senators via letter dated 22nd of January 2026. Now, pursuant to Standing Order 46.5, I now report the message. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 41.1 and 142 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the following message from the National Assembly. Whereas the Public Service Internship Bill, National Assembly Bill number 63 of 2022, was published by Kenya Gazette Supplement number 203 of 16th of December 2022 as a bill concerning county governments in terms of Article 110.4 of the Constitution to, amongst other things, make provision for the internship of college and university graduates in the public sector and provide for hands-on training and acquisition of skills by graduates. And whereas the National Assembly considered and passed the said bill on Wednesday, 3rd of December 2025 with amendments in the form attached hereto, now therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Article 110 of the Constitution and Standing Orders 41.1 and 142 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the said decision of the National Assembly to the Senate. Now, Honorable Senator, Standing Order 163.1 requires that a bill which originates in the National Assembly be proceeded with in the same manner as a bill introduced in the Senate by way of first reading in accordance with Standing Order 144. Accordingly, I direct the Public Service Internship Bill, National Assembly Bills number 63 of 2022, be listed in the order paper for first reading at the next sitting of the Senate. I thank you. Next order.
Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
The Senate Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Senate today, 11th February 2026. 1. Report of the Office of the Control of Budget, COB, on the National Government Budget Implementation Review for the first 3 months of financial year 2025-2026. 2. Report of the Office of the Control of Budget on the county government's budget implementation review for the first 3 months of financial year 2025-2026, the 14th report of the Public Service Commission on the status of compliance of the public service with values and principles of Article 10 and 232 of the Constitution, the annual report of the Public Service Commission for the year 2024-2025, the National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol, Drug Abuse, NACADA, 22nd edition of biannual report on the status of alcohol and drug abuse control in Kenya. Reports of the Auditor General laid person to the Senate resolution on Tuesday, 11 November 2025 on the referral of statutory instruments and papers submitted during recess for A, the year ended 30th June 2022, and on financial statements of Likoni Sub-County Level 4 Hospital, Mombasa County Government, Port Reitz Sub-County Hospital, Mombasa County Government, Tudor Sub-County Level 4 Hospital, Mombasa County Government, Coastal General Teaching and Referral Hospital, County Government of Mombasa, Habaswein Sub-County Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Wajir. B, the year ended 30th June 2023 on financial statements of Likoni Sub-County Level 4 Hospital, Mombasa County Government, Port Reitz Sub-County Hospital, Mombasa County Government, Tudor Sub-County Level 4, Mombasa County Government, Coastal General Teaching and Referral Hospital, County Government of Mombasa, and Habaswein Sub-County Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Wajir. The year ended 30th June 2024 on financial statements of Likoni Sub-County Level 4 Hospital, Mombasa County Government, Port Reitz Sub-County Hospital in Mombasa County Government, Tudor Sub-County Level 4 Hospital, Mombasa County Government. Mrima Maternity Level 4 Hospital, Mombasa County Government, Coast General Teaching and Referral Hospital, County Government of Mombasa, Maralal Municipality, County Government of Samburu, Municipality of Kehancha, County Government of Migori, Magutuni Sub-County Hospital, County Government of Tharaka-Nithi, Habaswein Sub-County Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Wajir, Kalawa Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Makueni, Kakamega County Revenue Agency Fund for 24 months period. D, the year ended 30th June 2025 on financial statements of County Executive of Kwale, County Assembly of Kwale, County Revenue Fund, County Government of Kwale, Receiver of Revenue Statements, County Government of Kwale, County Executive of Wajir, County Assembly of Wajir, County Revenue Fund, County Government of Wajir, Receiver of Revenue Statements, County Government of Wajir, County Assembly of Baringo. Receiver of revenue statements, County Government of Baringo. Report of the Auditor General on financial statements of the County Executive of Baringo, County Revenue Fund, County Government of Baringo. Receiver of revenue statements, County Government of Homa Bay, County Revenue Fund, County Government of Homa Bay, County Assembly of Homa Bay, County Executive of Homa Bay, County Government of Homa Bay, County Executive Tharaka-Nithi, County Revenue Fund, County Government of Tharaka-Nithi, County Assembly of Tharaka-Nithi. Receiver of revenue statements, County Government of Tharaka-Nithi, County Executive of Nakuru, County Assembly of Nakuru, County Revenue Fund, County Government of Nakuru. Receiver of revenue statements, County Government of Nakuru. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Next order, clerk.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
The Vice Chairperson Mediation Committee on the coffee bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, notice of motion, consideration of the report of the Mediation Committee of the Coffee Bill, Senate Bills 10 of 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to give notice of the following motion: that the Senate adopts report of the Mediation Committee on the Coffee Bill, Senate Bills number 10 of 2023, laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 4th December 2025, and that pursuant to Article 1132 of the Constitution and Standing Order 1673 of the Senate, approves mediated version of the bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
The Chairperson Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare. You have two papers today.
Report on the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare on a report on a petition to the Senate by employees of the former KCC or Cooperative Limited concerning non-payment of outstanding terminal benefits and Maziwa Sacco dues to former employees of Kenya Cooperative Creameries. I beg to give notice of the following motion: that the Senate adopts the report on the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare on petition on the Senate by the employees of the former Kenya Cooperative Creameries, KCC, concerning non-payment of outstanding terminal benefits to Maziwa Sacco dues to former employees of Kenya Cooperative Creameries Limited, laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 27 November 2025. Mr. Speaker, sir, I lay. Also report on the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare on petition to the Senate by Mr. Titus Njoroge concerning the dismissal by the African Inland Church, AIC, of Kenya and non-payment of arrears owed to him. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to give notice to the following motion: that the Senate adopts the report on the Standing Committee of Labor and Social Welfare on petition to the Senate by Mr. Titus Njoroge concerning his dismissal by the African Inland Church, AIC, of Kenya and non-payment of arrears owed to him laid on the table of Senate on Thursday, 27 November 2025. I lay.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to give notice of motion for the report of the Standing Committee on Health on the county oversight and networking engagements to Mandera, Wajir, and Marsabit counties. I beg to give the notice that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Health regarding the county oversight and networking engagements to Mandera, Wajir, and Marsabit counties laid on the table of the Senate Thursday, the 2nd October 2025.
Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Statements pursuant to Standing Order 52-1, the Honorable Senator Esi or Kenyuri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a statement on the 16 days of activism campaign against gender-based violence. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 52 to make a statement on a matter of general topical concern regarding the 16 days of activism campaign against gender-based violence, including femicide, which was observed in the country from 25th November to the 10th of December 2025 as a build-up towards the International Human Rights Day, commemorated annually on the 10th of December. Mr. Speaker, sir, the 16 days of activism is an international movement that is widely acknowledged as a means to raise awareness, build on the level of advocacy, and promote action to prevent all forms of violence against women based on gender. And last year's program offered an opportunity to reflect on the forms of violence against women, girls, men, and boys in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, while physical and sexual violence are the most visible forms of GBV in Kenya, other manifestations often remain overlooked and are underreported and socially accepted. These include economic violence, psychological abuse, digital and cyber violence, and harmful cultural practices such as forced and child marriage, female genital mutilation, and widow disinheritance. The problem of the growing prevalence of online and technology-enabled gender-based violence, such as cyberstalking, online harassment, and non-consensual distribution of intimate images, digital surveillance, the creation and spread of gender deepfakes and hate speech targeting women and girls came out as an issue of utmost importance during last year's commemoration. These forms of violence are especially prevalent against women in public life, politicians, journalists, and human rights defenders. Further, the economic and emotional abuse commonly experienced in intimate relationships are rarely treated with the same seriousness as physical assault, despite their long-term impact on mental health and autonomy. Mr. Speaker, sir, Kenya has enacted several laws to address GBV, including the Sexual Offences Act, which is Cap 363A, which criminalizes various forms of sexual violence and sets out penalties and protective measures. Then we have the Protection Against Domestic Violence Act, which is Cap 151, which provides for protective orders and redress for survivors of domestic violence, and the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act, or Cap 79C, which has legislated against several forms of technology-facilitated GBV, among others. These efforts by the state demonstrate a clear intention to address GBV. Indeed, the government's commitment to engage in policy, legal, and institutional reforms to address GBV in both the offline and online environments was reiterated by the government in the course of the campaign. This also includes the enforcement of the existing legal frameworks, digital safety, support services to survivors, and interagency collaboration with enforcement agencies, among other measures. Despite these efforts, there are notable gaps in harmonization, implementation, and enforcement of existing laws. Furthermore, there is a lack of comprehensive legal definition and recognition of femicide as a distinct offense. Mr. Speaker, sir, although campaigns are key, they should be coupled with the key actions such as budgetary provisions as well as accountability. Survivors still lack access to justice due to challenges such as fear of stigma, inadequate investigations, slow prosecution, as well as insufficient psychological or legal assistance services, especially at the county level. The devolved system of government places responsibility on county governments to aid in the coordination, prevention, and response to GBV. Despite the political will, the county government interventions have been plagued by systematic and resource challenges. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to emphasize that the struggle against GBV does not stop after the 16 days. It requires sustained commitment at the national level, and it should be centered around survivors while looking towards the eradication of the root causes of such violence. These causative factors include harmful social norms as well as the misuse of technology. Even though digital tools such as mobile apps, SMS-based hotlines, and online portals like Spotit have created safe and anonymous channels for survivors to seek help through offering timely reporting and referral to essential services and real-time data collection for policy planning, access disparities in rural areas and among low-income populations must be addressed to ensure equitable digital justice. I therefore request the national government, through the relevant ministries and agencies, to regularly inform this House of the progress being made in the implementation of the promised reforms regarding the protection of its citizens in the cyberspace, improvement of the GBV data compilation, and ensuring the effective support of the counties in response to the cases. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity.
Statement pursuant to Standing Order 53-1. The Honorable Senator for Kisii County, Senator Richard Onyonka. That statement is dropped. The Honorable Senator for Nandi County, Senator Samson Cherake.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have two statements and I request to read them concurrently. Request for statement on the exit of Kenya Airways from Eldoret International Airport. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads, Transport and Housing on a matter of national concern regarding the recent suspension of flights by Kenya Airways to Eldoret International Airport and the measures being taken to safeguard regional connectivity and economic development in the North Rift. Mr. Speaker, sir, the recent announcement by Kenya Airways to discontinue flights to Eldoret International Airport effective 30th March 2026 has raised widespread concern among residents, business leaders, and travelers in the North Rift region. Less than 2 years after relaunching the route, the withdrawal cited as part of operational efficiency and route optimization has left Jambojet as the sole operator, thereby limiting travel options, reducing competition, and undermining the strategic importance of Eldoret International Airport. This decision carries a broader implications for investor confidence, tourism, and regional and economic development. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee should address the following: the specific factors that led to Kenya Airways withdrawal from Eldoret route, including the consultation undertaken with stakeholders in Uasin Gishu County and the wider North Rift region prior to the decision. Number two, Mr. Speaker, sir, whether there was an assessment carried out on economic, social, and on connectivity on Kenya Airways' exit on business, travelers, and the regional economy. Number three, Mr. Speaker, the measures being taken by the Ministry of Roads, Transportation, and Infrastructure to ensure that the Eldoret International Airport remains a viable hub for passenger and cargo traffic despite the withdrawal. Number four, Mr. Speaker, the long-term strategies in place to strengthen domestic air connectivity and prevent abrupt withdrawal of services by national carriers or national carrier in future. Number five, Mr. Speaker, the immediate steps being taken to encourage other airlines to expand services to Eldoret International Airport. Number six, Mr. Speaker, the steps being taken to address the inconvenience faced by passengers, including Kenya Airways tickets affected by the withdrawal of the airline, including rebooking, refunds, and communication with the affected travelers. Number seven, Mr. Speaker, the mechanisms in place to ensure that the future decisions by national carriers or national carrier on domestic routes are made transparently and with adequate notice to the public. And finally, Mr. Speaker, sir, whether there are prospects of Kenya Airways resuming flights to Eldoret International Airport in the future, and the conditions or policy interventions that would make such a return viable. Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, my second statement, request for a statement on the assault of youths by police officers in Nandi Hills town early this year while playing a pool game. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations on a matter of county-wide concern regarding the assault of youth by police officers in Nandi Hills town while playing a pool game, which is not illegal in this country, Nandi County, and the measures being taken to ensure accountability and justice for the victims. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the night of 10 January 2026, at around 10 p.m., police officers of RDU stormed an entertainment establishment in Nandi Hills town and assaulted several youths who were playing a game of pool, leaving some of the youth nursing injuries. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee should address the following: the status of investigations in the assault, including the agencies leading the inquiry, timelines, and any other interim findings to date. Number two, Mr. Speaker, the disciplinary, administrative, or criminal actions taken against police officers involved, including any steps to ensure individual and command responsibility. Number three, Mr. Speaker, the circumstances and the basis for entering the entertainment establishment and whether the actions taken complied with applicable laws, regulations, and policing standards. Number four, Mr. Speaker, the nature of injuries sustained by the youth, medical treatment received, the socio-psychological support provided, and any compensation or victim support measures in place. Mr. Speaker, number five, the safeguards and oversight mechanisms currently in place to prevent police brutality and abuse of authority, including and across the country, including how these mechanisms are being enforced and any gaps being identified. And finally, Mr. Speaker, the measures being taken to restore public confidence in law enforcement in Nandi Hills town and Nandi County and across the country, including the community engagement and proposed police reforms to address the professional misconduct by the police. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senator for Tharaka Nithi County, the Honorable Senator Mwenda Gataya.
Let me read it from there.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Education on a matter of national concern regarding the plight of grade 10 learners across Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, the transition of learners into grade 10 has exposed significant challenges within the education sector, including financial barriers, preventing some students from reporting to school, inadequate capitation for senior secondary schools, shortage of teachers and strained infrastructure, particularly in rural and arid semi-arid lands, that is hustle areas. The situation has raised widespread concern among the parents, learners and stakeholders as it directly affects equitable equitable access to quality education and the successful implementation of the competence-based curriculum, CBC. In the statement, Honorable Speaker, the committee should address the following. The measures being taken to support learners who have not reported to school due to financial constraints, to assess quality education regardless of their background and or socio-economic status. Number 2, Honorable Speaker, the budgetary allocation for senior secondary school for the year 2025-2026 and indicate whether there are plans for an upward review of the senior secondary school capitation to address the shortage of running materials, higher admission costs, and infrastructure development. Number 3, Honorable Speaker, the committee should also look at the strategies and interventions being implemented to ensure a smooth transition from grade 10 learners to senior secondary schools. Number 4, Honorable Speaker, the committee should also look at the steps being taken to address the shortage of teachers in senior secondary schools and the expected timeline for resolving this challenge. The last one, Honorable Speaker, the committee should look at the mechanisms in place to improve infrastructure in senior secondary schools, particularly in ASO and rural areas. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This is Senator Mwanda Gataya, CBS Member of Parliament, Senator for the Tharaka-Nithi County. Thank you.
Senator for Kisumu County, the Honorable Senator Professor Tom Ojenda. He has 3 statements. Those statements are dropped. Now, Honorable Senators, I will allow, and that is pursuant to Standing Order 53.3, comments for not more than 15 minutes. Senator for Nairobi City County.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to make some comments on the statement that has been sought by the Senator for Nandi regarding the assault on those young people who were playing pool in Nandi Hills. In fact, Chair, I think the entire country was in shock when those videos came out, that young people would just be hanging out, not breaking any law, within the confines and protection of the law, seemingly, and then police officers would come in and without any explanation or provocation, they would start physically assaulting those young people. And what is most heartbreaking, Honorable Chair, as far as I know, up to today, the police have not told us whether those officers who were involved in that particular incident have been arrested. Honorable Chair, Speaker, we have come to a place where now we're having certain conversations in this country. And we must remind ourselves of the sort of society that we wanted to build. When we pass this constitution guarantees certain things for all of us. We expected that we would be a country governed by rule of law, that we would have freedom, democracy, and equality and social justice here, as stated in the preamble of our constitution. Honorable Speaker, this House, following the Gen Z uprising, passed a certain motion as well, calling on the National Police Service to even review their operating procedures. Up to today, Honorable Speaker, nothing has been done to be able to address the concerns that Kenyans have with the way the police conduct themselves. We cannot live in a country like this, and Senator Cherargei, you have to agree with me, that we have to build a society where people are actually free. You can imagine, we are, in this agreement that we signed, the MOU, people think that that MOU was between ODM and UDA. It was an MOU to actually resolve the challenges of this country. Honorable Speaker, one of the things that we provided for there was to solve the question of youth unemployment, to sort out the question of officers who misbehave, and to protect and promote the livelihoods of young people. We have programs, for instance, that are going on to give young people seed capital to essentially do business. Now, some of the business these young people do is actually opening those pool places. So you have a situation where the government will give you money to start a business. But because all these things are not being done within a framework of democracy and freedom, the police can have the audacity to come to that business and do what they did in Nandi Hills. This is what we must cure, Honorable Speaker. Kenya has a software problem. It's not just about roads and beautiful stadiums. By the way, everybody should know that President Moi built stadiums also. But no one wants to go back to the life that we used to live under President Moi. That is just a fact. Because of the software, we have to go back to a country that is ruled by law, a democratic state, where people are free to be able to live their lives and to better themselves. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Morgo. Senator Esi, you keep it under 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to support the statement by Senator Cherargei and just pause to wonder, if you watch those clips online, it's really sad, and I wonder whether we have a law which requires the innocent members of the public to keep walking with their identification cards, or it's a way the police are using to extort money from already poor young people who have nothing to put on the table, Mr. Speaker. And sad enough that no arrests have been done yet, Mr. Speaker. So I really feel we do not need to put a blind eye to this matter, because when you keenly watch the video, the National Police Service should by now be informing members of the public what indeed transpired and any actions which have been taken. And finally, Mr. Speaker, to support the statement by the Tharaka Nithi Senator, it's not just on grade 10 learners. Just the other day on Monday, I was taking a student who is a young girl with disability, admitting her to a technical training institute in Keroka, Kisii. And I can tell you, whatever I realized, these people still undergo several challenges. Why would a person living with disability have to pay total school fees upon admission and pay total school fees for the examinations? I thought it needs to be easier for them than the other students who can actually do that without any troubles. So apart from the grade 10 learners, I think the ministry needs to give special consideration to students who want to learn but are orphans and able differently, so that they do not have to undergo the hassle that I witnessed just the other day when I was admitting that student. And I'm imagining, now I was doing that as a member of parliament, imagine any other ordinary parent who is seeking to admit their students, Mr. Speaker. So let the committee get down to the real issues, and the ministry comes to recommend on how best we accommodate such cases. Thank you.
Senator John Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I also rise to support Senator Cherargei's statement, Mr. Speaker, regarding police brutality against some young men playing the game of pool, Mr. Speaker. This is something that must be condemned by any Kenyan who values the freedom that we have. Freedom to assemble, freedom to play whichever game and whichever hour, as long as, Mr. Speaker, it is within the licensed time of the particular facility where somebody could be playing this kind of game. And Mr. Speaker, the police should, if anyone has committed a crime, the police are trained to arrest and charge any such people who break any law, Mr. Speaker. I don't think in our laws that we have any particular provision where police can clobber people for no good reason, Mr. Speaker. And you remember that not too long ago, some police officers accompanied goons, Mr. Speaker, to Wetima ACK Church somewhere in Othaya, in Nyeri County, Mr. Speaker. And this is a matter that must be arrested. And the police, basically the police commissioner, must be held answerable. Mr. Speaker, from this statement, it seems that the perpetrators of this particular crime have not been arrested so far. They have not been charged in court so far. The same happened to the perpetrators or to the attackers of Wetima ACK Church in Nyeri, Mr. Speaker. And to this date, none has even been called to record a statement, at least record a statement. Needless to say that these are actually people whose names and contacts were provided. the police has not taken any action against these lawbreakers, Mr. Speaker, and we cannot allow Kenya to slide into a police state, Mr. Speaker. That is why the Committee on National Security must deal with this matter very decisively, Mr. Speaker, and must, Mr. Speaker, in the wisdom of that particular committee, they must actually invite or summon both the Interior Minister, Mr. Speaker, and the police IG, because we cannot afford to continue with this kind of impunity, Mr. Speaker. Kenya shall not be turned into a police state under this IG, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, it's also important that sometimes, because our president comments about topical issues, about matters happening in this country, even when they do not directly relate to him, we would also be glad to hear him say something about the attacks on these youths in Nandi Hills, about the attacks on churchgoers.
Senator Karungo. Senator Karungo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I also want to support the statement by Senator Cherargei, because nobody deserves police brutality, because police brutality, Mr. Speaker, to a citizen is police brutality. Police brutality to a politician is police brutality. And we have been speaking about this, Mr. Speaker. And I want to support this by also informing the Senator for Nandi that after World War II, there's a German pastor by the name MATIANG'I who spoke out, Mr. Speaker, about the dangers of staying silent when others are being persecuted. And he actually said, first they came for the socialist, but I did not say anything because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionist. I did not say anything because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for Wamunyoro and his people. But I did not say anything because I was not a Wamunyoro adherent. Now they have come to Nandi Hills, where the senator comes from, to his people. But I'm not going to keep quiet, Mr. Speaker, because police brutality is not acceptable, Mr. Speaker. So I will speak together with him to call the rogue police and to call the IG. You must take action. And also to remind him that the CS comes from the region. The CS who is in charge of this police comes from the region, Mr. Speaker. And he should also do something, because if you have the minister and you're being clobbered by the police, at least for us, or the people of Mount Kenya, we can say maybe he doesn't care. But if your people are being clobbered right, left, and center, when they're just playing a pool game, and they are not even a threat to anybody, Mr. Speaker, I think this CS and the IG should be called to order, because, Mr. Speaker, nobody deserves to be assaulted by the police. And on the issue of education, a statement that was brought by Senator Mwenda of Tharaka Nithi, I should tell him, you shouldn't worry, Mr. Speaker, because the president, together with the deputy president, they have said education is free. I don't know why we have this statement here, Mr. Speaker, saying why people are not going to school without school fees. The president and the deputy president, who comes from Tharaka Nithi, they have already announced in public that if you do not have school fees, go to school. That is declaring education free of charge, Mr. Speaker, because we do not have money. Nobody has money. So I don't know why we're even discussing this issue. But again, we're being vindicated that what they say on podium is something very different on location, Mr. Speaker. So, Senator Mwenda, just tell your people to go to school. It is free. Thank you.
Senator Wakoli.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity for me to weigh in on the matter of police brutality and arbitrary arrests of young people. Honorable Speaker, we are enjoying the fruits of freedom fighters. We are enjoying the fruits and the labor and the sweat of serious leaders. Not long ago, we buried our enigma, Raila Amolo Odinga. We buried Mheshimiwa Wamalwa Kijana. We buried my good friend Lawrence Sifuna from Bungoma. These are people who fought for the freedom of speech, freedom of association, and freedom of movement. What we all saw the other day in Nakuru, in Nandi, is something that cannot be accepted in the 21st century. It's something that shows that the training of our police officers is a problem, that a human being with a family, with all his mandibles, can brutally assault young people enjoying themselves, the freedom we fought for this country. I want to request the Inspector General that such officers should be deployed somewhere else where their energies can be fruitful to this country, but not when young people are investing in talent, cohesion, and integration, and equally enjoying the sweet drinks that our people produce in the villages. Honorable Speaker, it reminds me of another incident in Nyeri, where police officers openly shot at people and at a person specifically, and the person died. What kind of country are we living in? We are supporting the president to a trajectory that he has promised, that we shall all go to the promised land. What is the place? Singapore. But you realize the police officers want us to go to Zayuni, Honorable Speaker. It is not acceptable. We want to work with the president headed to Singapore. So I want to request the Inspector General and his soldiers, boot soldiers, to give us space to support the president, to go to Singapore, to make this country a very good place. And I want to finally, Mheshimiwa Speaker, to talk about an incident that happened in Bungoma. We lost a DVC, Professor Siamba. The comrades of the university and the neighbors were up in arms. And as they were lighting candles, mourning, the police officers raided those comrades with tear gas, allowing the comrades to scamper and scatter while mourning. What is it that they were trying to cover up? Is it a unity of the administration and the police to curtail the people from traditionally mourning their legend? Or there is something behind that?
Senator Mogeni.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
You ought to have gathered your thoughts and condensed them within 3 minutes. Senator Mogeni.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I want to join my colleague senators in condemning this issue of police brutality. Mr. Speaker, we enacted a new constitution in 2010, and the aspirations, the spirit of Kenyans was to create a free, democratic society. And in that constitution, Mr. Speaker, there are rights, enshrined rights in that constitution, Mr. Speaker. One of them, Mr. Speaker, is to ensure that you don't subject our youths to any inhuman treatment, Mr. Speaker. How can police officers who should be civilians in police uniform are as youths playing pool, Mr. Speaker? And Mr. Speaker, as a student of constitutional law, the Constitution in Article 240 has created a National Security Council. And Mr. Speaker, the National Security Council is chaired by none other than the President of the Republic of Kenya. And it says, Mr. Speaker, that that National Security Council has supervisory powers over the national security organs. Mr. Speaker, why can't we see internal disciplinary action against these police officers? Why can't we see investigations that can lead to prosecution, Mr. Speaker? Kwani, in this country, has our constitution taken a tea break, Mr. Speaker? We have turned Kenyans, anytime they see policemen, they have to become athletic. And that's why they're even going to Nandi to try and see if those youths are athletic enough. We can't live in such a society, Mr. Speaker. That's why, Mr. Speaker, this afternoon we should all speak in one voice, Mr. Speaker, and tell our police officers that we want to live in a society that is more free, Mr. Speaker. We don't want to be brutalized by our police officers, Mr. Speaker. The question I'm asking, honestly, if a crime has been committed, like what we saw, how long does it take before we see action? Is it 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? How long does it take, Mr. Speaker? By now, heads should have rolled. What can we explain to this country if the same police officer repeated the same crime tomorrow in Nairobi? Because transferring is not a disciplinary action, Mr. Speaker. Those who cannot live up with the freedoms that are guaranteed to Kenyans in our constitution can quit. They can also go and sell mandazi elsewhere, Mr. Speaker.
I support.
Senator Onyonka. Senator Richard Onyonka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am happy to be back in this House, and I'm happy to see you and my colleagues back in this House. I just wanted, Mr. Speaker, to contribute to the motion, the statement that my leader, Honorable Cherargei, has brought. But, Mr. Speaker, the message that I had, and I listened to Honorable Karungo, I wish he was still in the room. You know, Mr. Speaker, our colleagues, anytime we are at the advantaged position, and particularly when we're in government and we see people being violated, we clap about it and laugh. We say, I remember before Karungo and Waminyoro had disagreed with the president, and that is the time we were talking about very painful things about our country and how our behavior was. Mr. Speaker, any violation, minimum or otherwise, which is violated against an individual who is either next to you or very far from you, there's a possibility that violation will come back to you. So the truth and the honesty about our security situation in our country is that there should be reasonableness, there should be fairness, there should be no bias, there should be no weaponization of security in the Republic of Kenya. Whether the young men were actually playing pool and they came from in Kisii, some place called Kebirigo, or whether they came from Nandi, that was a very sad picture. The optics of it were not good. And I really hope that soon, because of this statement, I hope that we'll be able to call the IG and get an opportunity to interrogate, and maybe, if there's anything, just advise him what he should and what he should not do. And sir, Mr. Speaker, these things are related. The event where we saw individuals with guns shooting bullets outside a church, where, because Honorable Gachagua was in that church, and the truth is Honorable Gachagua has disagreed with the president and the government. But we should be magnanimous enough as leadership to agree that we who are in the opposition should be allowed to run our mouths. We should be allowed to say whatever we say. We should, so long as it's within the law, so long as I don't violate anybody's dignity, anybody's respect, so long as I'm not petty, Mr. Speaker, I should be allowed. Because the
Senator Wamatenga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. Let me also add my voice into supporting the statement by Senator Fernandes and Chilagay. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is very sad that you see the brutality of the police meted out to young people. Mr. Speaker, we are living in a generation where we should be having utmost tolerance. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to concur with Senator Chilagay that indeed the kind of police force we are having, though some, Mr. Speaker, become log, they are spoiling the name of some of the very good servicemen and servicewomen we have in this country. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, it is imperative that we as a House stand and condemn whichever brutality comes from the police, because it is the unit, the force that we've been entrusted with the security and safeguarding national interest. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me also to weigh in on the matter of attacking worshippers, Mr. Speaker. In the 21st century, it is indeed very sad, Mr. Speaker. It does not matter which side of political divide you are in, but you cannot subject our families, kids, women, and old men into this kind of torture, into this kind of tormentation, because we are far, Mr. Speaker, away from that kind of politics. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, it is also important to look at the structural training that we give our police unit. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that we need to look at the training that we give. 9 months in Kiganjo, Mr. Speaker,
and then no other training, Mr. Speaker, is too little. We must therefore, Mr. Speaker, embark on retooling like we are doing with the teachers, retooling our police so that they know they are not only a force, but they are service that is supposed to help the common mwananchi. And as my colleague has said here, in the journey to go to Singapore, Mr. Speaker, we must do away with police brutality. Mr. Speaker, I support.
Senator Munyihaji.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia maombi ya taarifa yaliyoletwa bungeni na Seneta wa Nandi, Seneta Cherargei. Mheshimiwa Spika, ukatili wa polisi imekuwa ni jambo la kawaida katika nchi yetu, na mwaka huu kumekuwa na matukio mawili ambayo yanaonyesha kwamba ukatili huu unaendelea katika nchi yetu, licha ya kwamba tuna katiba mpya, licha ya kwamba tuna taasisi huru ya kusimamia mambo ya polisi, na licha ya kwamba nchi tayari ilikuwa imekemea swala hili hapo nyuma. Mheshimiwa Spika, kitendo kilichotokea kule sehemu za Nandi ambapo vijana walikuwa wanajivinjari na kucheza mchezo wa pool ni kitendo cha kinyama sana. Hayo maswala kwamba mtu atembee na kitambulisho ni maswala yalipitwa na wakati, Mheshimiwa Spika. Hiyo ilikuwa ni wakati wa kabla ya uhuru, ndipo hapo walikuwa wanatembea na kibali ama kipande kile, ukiulizwa na polisi unaonesha kipande chako. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, ipo haja ya waziri muhusika kuja katika bunge hili na kuweza kueleza ni sababu gani unyama ama ukatili wa polisi unaendelea katika nchi yetu, wakati tuna katiba ambayo inatoa uhuru kwa wananchi, inatoa uhuru kwa watu walioko katika nchi hii kufanya mambo yao bila matatizo yote. Mheshimiwa Spika, masuala mengine kama yale ya kule Nyeri Othaya ambapo risasi za vitoa machozi vilitupwa katika kanisa ni mambo ya kusikitisha kwa wakati huu. Mheshimiwa Spika, tumeona kwamba bado polisi wetu licha ya kwamba wameweza kupewa mtaala mpya wa kusoma, wameweza kufundishwa sheria mpya, lakini bado wana ile fikra za kikoloni kwamba yeye lazima akufanyie unyama wewe kama raia. Mheshimiwa Spika, mengi yanatendeka sehemu nyingi ambazo hayatokei katika vyombo vya habari wala hayaelezwi katika social media. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, naunga mkono statement hii, na komiti husika lazima ilivalie njuga jambo hili, waweze kuhakikisha kwamba wanapata ukweli wa mambo haya, na wale ambao walidhulumiwa wameweza kupewa ridhaa, na wale polisi ambao walitenda kitendo hicho cha kinyama waweze kuchukuliwa hatua za kisheria. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
Senator Abbas.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to also join my colleagues to support the statement of Senator for Nandi. Honorable Speaker, well, I think I am not surprised because I come from a state where it became a police state. And it's the order of the day for police harassment, and we have taken it normal. But it's good to hear that today the same thing is happening in Nandi. Honorable Speaker, you'll be surprised. The Kenyan police, actually, the way they act is so unfortunate that the police officers are supposed to be friendly. That's why Kenyans who are affected or who have problems should run to, but not to run away from the police stations and police officers. Honorable Speaker, I came from Wajir and I want to travel to Nairobi. In every stage where you pass, the buses and the vehicles traveling are stopped, inspected. The passengers have been told to drop their bags. And it's actually, you get surprised that where are we? Are we really in a state of a police state or really an independent country like Kenya? Honorable Speaker, I think our police needs to be retained. And if needs to be, I think we need to have new police officers because they seem to not be appreciating their work. Because the other day I was shocked when I saw young kids and mamas in the church being tear gassed. This is actually very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Those people are innocent. We may be looking for one individual and we have trying to harass people there. I was also shocked when I saw hooded people I don't know who they were. I don't know whether they were bandits, whether they were officers. You know, damaging very expensive cars, where bullets have been hit in the engines, you know, very, very expensive cars. I think that kind of situation cannot be allowed in this country. Honorable Speaker, I think it's a high time this House takes these challenges and I invite all the leaders of the police officers, the minister, at least to say why people in a church or in a mosque should be tear gassed, especially where there are children there. There are mamas who are even pregnant, hey mamas. So I think it's a high time that you must have some human faces. The police officers must be welcoming. You know, you get surprised when you're traveling, you see 100 and many police officers and traffic officers along the roads. You wonder, instead of having all those officers there, why don't they take them to northern Kenya, take them to Turkana where the bandits are, so they can go and fight and save the Kenyans? Thank you so much, Speaker.
Senator Seki.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also join my colleagues on this issue from Senator Cherargei, where we have a problem on this, the Kenya police and even the harassment and brutality of Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, I have an incident in my county where just recently we had a problem where police killed one citizen of Kajiado, and another young man also is seated now, is right now in the hospital, in ICU. It is a big issue which has been a problem in the whole country. Honorable Speaker, as I joined my colleagues to condole this issue and even to say that how the Kenyans can be saved in this police brutality, Honorable Speaker, I don't know how we can really bring this to an end, because it seems like they have a direction, or they have a directives. Kenya police have a directives. The IG seems not to be very cognizant to what is happening to Kenyans, and we are losing young men, people, this republic, and there is no, it seems like that nothing is happening, Honorable Speaker. I don't know if it will be enough for the committee to sit down with the IG, the DCI, the NIS and whatever, all the national security personnel, but I think this is something that has been a big problem. I don't know if it has been given a directive from more office than the one from the IG, but we don't know who is giving directives, Honorable Speaker, to kill Kenyans. We don't know. It is a problem. It's a nuisance. It is something that we cannot understand, because in a scenario where we have a problem in Kajiado, in a place in Kitengela, one of the restaurants in Kajiado, just police officers just, shoot young men who are just taking their own, leisure times in a pub, without even any directives, without any problem. And up to now, none of them has been arrested. The same case to where we sometimes went, we've seen when the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua attended her church service. There is a lot of problems, and I think much will be done by the committee. But
Senator Omtata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise to support both motions, both statements. On the first statement by Senator Cherargei, I think we should look at the entire architecture of the militarization of the Kenya police. When you look at the origins of the Kenya police, it began off as an occupation force to dominate, control, and oppress the local population. That culture has not been removed. At independence, the same culture remained, and you will see that it seems to have gotten worse when the KDF invaded Somalia.
the Kenya police began acquiring a militaristic character. If you look at our police today, they are attired in jungle attire. When the Inspector General of Police came to this house, he was wearing fatigues, military fatigues, jungle fatigues. That militarization of the police needs to be addressed so that the police can go back to a civilian force, not an occupation force. And that's where the problem lies. We must look at that issue, because if you saw what happened in Nandi, it was an expression of oppression and domination and control. So the police are not supposed to be controlling, oppressing, and doing all those kind of things. So we need to go back and look at the systemic issues that make the police so militarized in their approach to issues and not to be civil. Regarding education, there are so many kids not going to school. There's a challenge, like there's no money in this country. And that is not something that is an act of God. It's an act of the Kenya Kwanza government. This government has made sure that people do not have disposable income by imposing unnecessary taxes, which when that money is collected, is then repatriated to go and pay odious debts. So we need to come down and address the question of taxation in this country so that there can be disposable income for families to run around. You find so many people not going to school today because the middle class in Kenya subsidizes the state. They send M-Pesa to pay bills for hospital, they send M-Pesa to help school fees, and so forth. Now, when these people, when the pay slips are stripped of disposable income, these people are not able to play the critical role they've been playing of keeping the society going. So it's the tax regime that has been imposed by the Kenya Kwanza government that's at the heart of the lack of money in people's pockets, the failure to take kids to school, and etc. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senator Osotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to also raise my concern about the harassment of youth by police officers in Nandi Hills. Mr. Speaker, it's so unfortunate that this police force that Kenyans have tried their best to make it a service through the Constitution of 2010. Mr. Speaker, this police force, even with the investment to make it a reformed force, it is getting worse and worse. A situation where police officers can get into a private club and beat up the youth or do all manner of things, Mr. Speaker. This is not something that should be happening in this country, Mr. Speaker. These are things that have happened in failed states, not in a democratic state like Kenya. And Mr. Speaker, maybe we need to go back and ask ourselves, the police force that we wanted, the police service that we wanted, the police service that we even put in the Constitution and say this police service commission is going to be independent. Even we put there IPOA, which is supposed to oversight the police service commission, and nothing seems to be working. We must ask ourselves why. Why is the police not able to serve Kenyans well and serve Kenyans as a service and not a force? I think that is a big question that we need to ask, because we have cases like these ones, many across the country, Mr. Speaker. You saw the other day police entering a church and throwing tear gas in churches. The other day you saw police trying to stop meetings. But Mr. Speaker, I want to say this weekend, me and Senator Nairobi, Senator Sifuna, we applauded the police in Busia, Mr. Speaker, because the governor of Busia tried to stop our meeting in Busia town. And the people said, we will have the meeting. And the police were there to escort us very peacefully. The police were there to give us protection. I think in the midst of all this, let me also thank the police for the conduct of Sunday, when they welcomed us in Busia, when they protected us, and when they guided us to the venue of our meeting. That is the force that this country needs, not a police force or a police service that is there to harm.
Next order, clerk.
Order number 8, procedural motion, limitation of debate on motions.
The Senate Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that pursuant to Standing Order 111, the Senate resolve that debate on a motion not sponsored by the majority or minority party or committee shall be limited in the following manner: a maximum of 3 hours with not more than 20 minutes for the mover, 20 minutes for the majority party official responder, 20 minutes for the minority party official responder, and 15 minutes for each other senator speaking. And further, that 15 minutes before the time expires, the mover shall be called upon to reply. I move. Seconder. Honorable Sigay.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion. And while I second the motion, Mr. Speaker, I wish to appreciate the limitation of time to the extent of members being allowed to take certain timeline because of the business that is existing in the House, and for purposes of ensuring that we also are able to transact whatever businesses that are placed in order paper or which are placed before the House within a reasonable timeline. And Mr. Speaker, I beg to support.
Now, honorable senators, I will now propose the question. Senator Wakoli, take your seat. Now, pursuant to Standing Order 111.1, the Senate resolves that debate on a motion not sponsored by the majority or minority party or a committee shall be limited in the following manner: a maximum of 3 hours with not more than 20 minutes for the mover, 20 minutes for the majority party official responder, 20 minutes for the minority party official responder, and 15 minutes for each other senator speaking. And further, that 15 minutes before the time expires, the mover shall be called upon to reply. Now, honorable senators, this is a procedural motion. With your concurrence, I may proceed to put the question so that you can vote on the same. Do I have your concurrence? Yes. Clerk, do you have quorum? So ring the quorum bell, Sergeant at Arms, for 10 minutes.
Clerk, please continue ringing the quorum bell for another 5 minutes. Order, honorable members. Senator Ledama, take your seat. Senator Kajwang, take your seat. Senator Okinyuri, take your seat. Now, honorable senators, having attained the quorum, I will proceed to put the question that pursuant to Standing Order 1111, the Senate resolves that debate on a motion not sponsored by the majority or minority party or a committee shall be limited in the following manner. A maximum of 3 hours with not more than 20 minutes for the mover, 20 minutes for the majority party official responder, 20 minutes for the minority party official responder, and 15 minutes for each other senator speaking. And further, that 15 minutes before the time expires, the mover shall be called upon to reply. Now, honorable senators, will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Clerk, we move to the next order.
Order number 9, procedural motion. Limitation of debate on adjournment motion.
Senate Majority Leader.
Order, members. I beg Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I beg to move that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order 1114, the debate on any motion for the adjournment of the Senate to a day other than the next normal sitting day in accordance with the calendar of the Senate shall be limited to a maximum of 2 hours with not more than 15 minutes for each senator speaking, after which the Senate shall adjourn without question put, provided that when the period of recess proposed by any such motion does not exceed 9 calendar days, the debate shall be limited to a maximum of 30 minutes and shall be confined to the question of adjournment. I beg to move and request Honorable Cheregei, now that you are on your feet, to proceed.
Mr. Speaker, as I beg to second, and since these are procedural motion and colleagues to have time to vote on it, we can dispose and proceed to other matters on the order paper. I think these are very important. These are procedural matter as per our standing orders. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senate Majority Leader, Senator Ledama, please take your seat. Honorable Senators, this being also a procedural motion, I will proceed to just propose the question that notwithstanding to provisions of Standing Order 114, the debate on any motion for the adjournment of the Senate to a day other than the next normal sitting day
in accordance with the calendar of the Senate shall be limited to a maximum of 2 hours with not more than 15 minutes for each senator speaking, after which the Senate shall adjourn without question put, provided that when the period of recess proposed by any such motion does not exceed 9 calendar days, the debate shall be limited to a maximum of 30 minutes and shall be confined to the question of adjournment. As I have alluded, honorable senators, with your concurrence, I will proceed to put the question because this is another procedural motion, just like the previous one we dealt with. I believe we are in concurrence. I will proceed then, honorable senators, to put the question that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order 114, the debate on any motion for the adjournment of the Senate to a day other than the next normal sitting day, in accordance with the calendar of the Senate, shall be limited to a maximum of 2 hours with not more than 15 minutes for each senator speaking, after which the Senate shall adjourn without question put, provided that when the period of recess proposed by any such motion does not exceed 9 calendar days, the debate shall be limited to a maximum of 30 minutes and shall be confined to the question of adjournment. Now, honorable members, will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Clerk may call the next order.
Order number 10, procedural motion. Limitation of debate on the motion on the President's address to Parliament.
Senate Majority Leader, proceed to move.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that pursuant to Standing Order 27.6, the Senate resolve that the debate on the motion on the President's address to Parliament shall be limited to a maximum of 3 sitting days with not more than 15 minutes for each senator speaking, excluding the mover in moving and replying, who shall be limited to 30 minutes in either case, and that the Senate Majority Leader and Senate Minority Leader shall be limited to 30 minutes each. I beg to move and request Honorable Cherargei to second.
Mr. Speaker, this is another straightforward motion, and as I rise to second, is as per our standing orders, Mr. Speaker, this will increase efficiency, efficacy, and effectiveness of the House to be able to transact most of these motions in good time and in line with our standing orders as anchored in Article 123 of the Constitution of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I beg to second.
Honorable Senators, I now propose the question that pursuant to Standing Order 27.6, the Senate resolves that the debate on the motion on the President's address to Parliament shall be limited to a maximum of 3 sitting days with not more than 15 minutes for each senator speaking, excluding the mover in moving and replying, who shall be limited to 30 minutes in either case, and that the Senate Majority Leader and the Senate Minority Leader shall be limited to 30 minutes each. Honorable Senators, similarly, this being a procedural motion, with your concurrence, I will proceed to put the question. Now, pursuant to Standing Order 84.1, honorable members, this matter does not affect counties, and I will proceed to put the question that pursuant to Standing Order 27.6, the Senate resolves that the debate on the motion on the President's address to Parliament shall be limited to a maximum of 3 sitting days with not more than 15 minutes for each senator speaking, excluding the mover in moving and replying, who shall be limited to 30 minutes in either case, and that the Senate Majority Leader and the Senate Minority Leader shall be limited to 30 minutes each. Now, will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Clerk, proceed to call the next order.
Order number 11, procedural motion. Referral of statutory instruments and papers submitted during recess.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move that the Senate resolves that during the short and long recess of the 5th session of the 13th Parliament, where any statutory instrument or paper is transmitted for tabling in the Senate, and the Speaker determines that the statutory instrument or paper is of priority, the Speaker shall forthwith refer the statutory instrument or paper to the relevant committee for consideration, and the statutory instrument or paper shall be deemed to have been tabled before the Senate, and the Speaker shall report the statutory instrument or paper to the Senate and cause the statutory instrument to be tabled in the Senate in accordance with the provisions of Section 11 of the Statutory Instruments of Instrument Act number 3 of 2023, and the paper to be tabled before the Senate at its next sitting. I request Senator Cherargei to rise and move.
To second.
And second, Honorable Speaker, sorry.
Mr. Speaker, as I second, I am impressed with the efficiency of the Senate Majority Whip. I saw even on the weekend when they were barring Professor Samba, although he was being intimidated, but he stood his ground. We are proud of what you are doing. So, Speaker, this is another procedural motion, especially on issues of Statutory Instruments Act. I think as a House, we have made a decision that is very clear, that all statutory instruments must come to the floor of the Parliament and be approved. We have seen ministers and other people who have power to create instruments trying to bypass Parliament. Mr. Speaker, this is a warning that they should not, they should follow the law. So, Speaker, since this is a procedural motion and anchored under Article 124 on powers of the committees and standing orders, I beg to second. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, I now propose the question that the Senate resolves that during the short and long recesses of the 5th session of the 13th Parliament, where any statutory instrument or paper is transmitted for tabling in the Senate, and the Speaker determines that the statutory instrument or paper is of priority, the Speaker shall forthwith refer the statutory instrument or paper to the relevant committee for consideration, and the statutory instrument or paper shall be deemed to have been tabled before the Senate, and the Speaker shall report the statutory instrument or paper to the Senate and cause the statutory instrument to be tabled in the Senate in accordance with the provisions of Section 11 of the Statutory Instruments Act, Act number 3 of 2023, and the paper to be tabled before the Senate at its next sitting. Honorable members, similarly, this is also a statutory motion, a procedural motion, and I, with your concurrence, will proceed to put the question. Having also determined that this matter does not affect counties, I will proceed to put the question that the Senate resolves that during the short and long recesses of the 5th session of the 13th Parliament, where any statutory instrument or paper is transmitted for tabling in the Senate, and the Speaker determines that the statutory instrument or paper is of priority, the Speaker shall forthwith refer the statutory instrument or paper to the relevant committee for consideration, and the statutory instrument or paper shall be deemed to have been tabled before the Senate, and the Speaker shall report the statutory instrument or paper to the Senate and cause the statutory instrument to be tabled in the Senate in accordance with the provisions of Section 11 of the Statutory Instruments Act, Act number 3 of 2023, and the paper to be tabled before the Senate at its next sitting. Now, honorable members, will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Clerk, call the next order.
Order number 12, the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bills number 72 of 2023. Second reading.
Senate Majority Leader.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill 2023 be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important bill. This bill is a National Assembly bill, actually, number 72 of 2023, which our colleagues in the National Assembly have considered and duly now forwarded here to the Senate for consideration. Mr. Speaker, this bill, by and large, in a nutshell, seeks to establish properly in statute this state corporation. As it is today, this government agency is actually set up only under legal notice. I think legal notice number 12 of 2004. And it's a very important government agency, Mr. Speaker. You know that population is not a very small matter in this country. There has been controversy. Even as we speak today, Mr. Speaker, you know that the last census of 2019, I think, certain sections of it were actually successfully challenged in court. And today, even as we do division of revenue and government planning and all those things, Mr. Speaker, many of those things actually are just being guided by, I think, guesswork. Because what do you do in the sense that a population census has been carried out, challenged in court, Mr. Speaker, and I'm disappointed that there were no sanctions to the particular officers. If the court was convinced that either figures were inflated or the census was not carried out accordingly, Mr. Speaker, then the duty-bound officers, the people who undertook that exercise, if the court indeed agreed, Mr. Speaker, that there was interference from mandarins from I don't know where, Mr. Speaker, then there should have been sanctions on those public officers. You know, the problem in this country, Mr. Speaker, is that there are never sanctions for individuals who bungle public exercises. You will cancel an election, you will cancel maybe a title that was allotted, you will cancel a certain transaction, but there has never been a decision. And I wish that we had more bold judges in our judiciary who will actually look at civil servants who participate in such exercises that end up costing taxpayers money and send them to jail, so that people begin to appreciate that when you are charged with the responsibility of being a public officer, Mr. Speaker, you take it seriously and do justice in the interest of the people. Mr. Speaker, that was just a small deviation, because I thought about the people that come specifically, say, from those counties that are affected by the ruling on the population census of 2019, Mr. Speaker, and the anxiety and injustice that they continue to suffer today, so long as the government has never provided remedial measures on how to resolve that particular matter. And the courts also, in their wisdom or lack of it, as they say, Mr. Speaker, never gave direction actually on how that matter needs to be handled, or at least none that I'm aware of. Probably, maybe it may have been spoken. It's not a matter that I've followed closer to the detail. Therefore, this council, Mr. Speaker, is a very important council, because, like we said, Senate as a house and the national government needs to pay close attention to this. Each time we discuss the annual division of revenue, and more particularly once every 5 years, Mr. Speaker, when we do the basis for revenue sharing across the county, we look at all these matrices, including population survey, Mr. Speaker, poverty index, and all these matters. The information that we use, Mr. Speaker, is provided for us by credible government agencies like Kenya Bureau of Statistics, Mr. Speaker, and Kenya National Bureau of Statistics and such agencies. This will be one such agency, Mr. Speaker, where on matters to do with the population survey and development, they will have a say. But, Mr. Speaker, it's my hope that their research and findings and studies will not just gather dust in government offices. You know, Mr. Speaker, I am proud of the work that this House, and it's only that people don't follow the work of Senate quite closely. It was this House, Mr. Speaker, that made a decision in 2016, for example. Previously, you know, on conditional grants, Senator Kajwang may remember this, that somebody will sit at Treasury and allocate projects haphazardly without no basis or reference to any particular order. It took the decision of this Senate, Mr. Speaker, through their Finance Committee to say no to the National Treasury and decide that there has to be a structured way in which conditional grants are sent equally and equitably to all the 47 counties of the country. That is a kind of decision-making that we expect from bodies such as this, Mr. Speaker, that their decisions will lead us actually so that you have a fully prosperous country, Mr. Speaker, without due consideration to any other political affiliation. The unfortunate thing, Mr. Speaker, is that for the last 60 years, and this is a reality which nobody can challenge, is that there is a clear indication that regions that have produced either presidents or senior government officials have benefited unduly to the exclusion of regions, certain regions of the country. It is because we have not mastered the art, Mr. Speaker, of looking our country as an entire unit, that we still consider that even matters development, Mr. Speaker, are issues of political considerations. And it is a difficult conversation which, unfortunately, the country must have. Even now, as we speak today, you know, there has been a very ugly spat of late, led by a very incompetent fellow that we kicked out by an impeachment vote in this House, Mr. Speaker, trying to besmirch, Mr. Speaker, the leadership from Northern Kenya. Mr. Speaker, that debate cannot be had in full without due consideration of where the entire 100% of the budget has gone over the years, Mr. Speaker. We can speak about CDF. You can speak about equitable share, Mr. Speaker, but that is barely 20%. What about the 80%, Mr. Speaker? That is a conversation that needs to be had as a country, looking at Kenya as an entire republic and knowing that there are regions that have been undermined by successive regimes, Mr. Speaker, and that is why we have all those details. In this bill, Mr. Speaker, because I mentioned that this bill actually is one to anchor this board in law, Mr. Speaker, so that they do all those things, responsibilities that have been listed, Mr. Speaker, asking this board what are the objectives, for example, of the council, which is to be the focal point on matters relating to population and development, develop and review and coordinate implementation of national population policy at regular intervals. Mr. Speaker, I don't like the language that is used here. I have to be precise. And I hope the committee that looks into this matter, I don't know which committee will eventually, I think this must be Labour. And I saw Senator Murgor earlier, but he's not here, Mr. Speaker. They must get the submissions from, Mr. Speaker, the national government on which body will eventually carry out the national census and what will be then the responsibility of this board, Mr. Speaker, complete with clarity, because the language that is used here doesn't provide specificity on this particular topic, Mr. Speaker. Because when you say you are a focal point, Mr. Speaker, what do you mean? What is the relationship between this and KNBS, Mr. Speaker? Will they do it jointly? Will one oversight the other? What is the relation, Mr. Speaker? These are matters which I hope by the time we are doing the third reading of this bill, the Labour Committee will have guided us as a House to properly understand the placing of this council, Mr. Speaker, complete with all the reason that the members of this council requested. Mr. Speaker, Section 8, not 8 actually, Section 9 is where I want to spend a little bit of time. Actually 8, Mr. Speaker. There must be a different way of doing things. Many times when bills come to this House, the national government, true to its function, and I have said the state law office, and it's unfortunate because that is an office where the heart and the breadth of this constitution, Mr. Speaker, should be more alive than any other institution. But matters devolution are dead at the state law office. And this is something that I have raised with none other than the Attorney General on many occasions. If you see how they draft this legislation, Mr. Speaker, when you read the list of the members of this board, you can clearly see that this is not somebody who appreciates that there are two levels of government. And I don't know what it will take for the drafters of such legislation, Mr. Speaker, who sit at the national drafting desk at the state law office, Mr. Speaker, to appreciate that there are two levels of government. When you send us a bill, of course they know that many times they will be lucky to skim through, if particularly a determination is made that that bill does not concern counties and therefore it's considered by our colleagues in the National Assembly. And I also don't know up to when our colleagues in the National Assembly will learn to live and appreciate that there are two levels of government, despite the fact, Mr. Speaker, because there has been an erroneous interpretation that so long as a matter touches on devolution, it is of no concern to the National Assembly. It's quite unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, because all these members of the National Assembly, they come from certain counties. By continuously undermining devolution, Mr. Speaker, and being supported by our colleagues in the National Assembly who pass laws such as this, because this bill has already gone through the 349 members of the National Assembly, and none has been able to pick out and say, you cannot constitute such a board in the 21st century in a country where we have the 2010 Constitution, Mr. Speaker. It tells you that many of them don't exercise their mind appropriately to appreciate, Mr. Speaker, that there is an important role that our devolved units carry on and for on behalf of the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, this board eventually, when the Committee on Labor sits on this particular, I expect that they will rejig it properly, Mr. Speaker, ensure that there is good representation of our county governments, including the various agencies and institutions that appreciate the 2010 Constitution and how it's supposed to work. Otherwise, this continuous drafting, because you can clearly see that many of these bills, Mr. Speaker, somebody lazily sits on their desk, Mr. Speaker, approves, edits, copies and pastes, Mr. Speaker, and concludes on that particular business. Mr. Speaker, when I refer to the State Law Office, don't get very worried. I know you have close relations in that particular office, but I know she works in a different office, not this particular one. This is a different one, because I have seen how you're looking at me when I mentioned the State Law Office, Mr. Speaker. This is a different one who needs to, and in fact, at the next conference, where we bring together national government and the Senate, the AG needs to address us specifically on this particular matter and the refusal by her officers to appreciate the fact that 2010 Constitution radically changed institutions and how they are represented. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, that is something that needs to be done. You know, Part H is an interesting one. There are 3 persons who shall be nominated by the Forum of Religious Organization, consisting of the Secretary General of Supreme Four, Council of Kenya Muslims, Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, Hindu, National Christian Churches of Kenya and Evangelical Alliance, provided that not more than one shall be appointed by the Cabinet Secretary from one organization. It's okay. At least this is a bit descriptive because it speaks to the Muslims through SUPKEM and the various major denominations of the Christian faith, which is the Catholics, the Evangelicals Alliance, Mr. Speaker, and the Hindu Council, Mr. Speaker. But I don't think we have reached here, Mr. Speaker, where we can define. Because you know this country very well, and I have nothing against Catholics like Omtata. I know he's a member of the Catholic faith and maybe many others. But when you compare one of the major denominations to the exclusions of the other, the Anglicans, for example, might arise in protest. I don't know which church Senator Kajwang goes to, Mr. Speaker. Oh, he's an Adventist. Yes, I've just remembered. For example, the Adventists is a very major denomination with churches spread across the country. I don't know what is the total population of the Adventists vis-a-vis the Catholics, the Anglicans, for example. Therefore, this proposal that is being put here to mention a specific church denomination, Mr. Speaker, may give us trouble. Unless we had a religious council that will give us the censors to establish. I prefer the previous mode of drafting because we have done other laws, the IBC law and so many others, where we have just left it to the interreligious council to sit down amongst themselves and make a determination. But to pick a specific major denomination, in this instance, the Catholic Church, Mr. Speaker, may put us in trouble with the rest of the denomination. Because, Mr. Speaker, they say to name one is to exclude others. And that is something that we need to perhaps bring a better understanding. And when members of the Labour Committee, I don't know if they're in the House this afternoon, Mr. Speaker, sit to consider that particular matter, that is an item that they need to address this House on, so that we are clear about it, Mr. Speaker, on what is the response by the other religious bodies on that kind of inclusion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to belabor the point because, like I had mentioned, the rest are actually statutory matters about the responsibilities of the Director General, the Corporation Secretary, Mr. Speaker, and the usual stuff about within a period of 3 months from the end of financial year, submit to the Auditor General, the Council, statements and the rest, Mr. Speaker, and all these other things that continue, Mr. Speaker, to form part and parcel of our legislative forming duties. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, it's a good bill, important, but there are various areas of concern which I have raised, Mr. Speaker, that I hope that when Labour Committee sits to consider this bill, they can furnish us with a good report. This is quite important, given the issues that have surrounded, Mr. Speaker, distribution of resources across the country. You know, for example, Mr. Speaker, that today, as we sit here, much as we did for the county governments, the issue of conditional grants, our colleagues in the National Assembly have never made a similar pronouncement on national issues, Mr. Speaker, particularly where public officers have the discretion to determine where to place certain government projects, Mr. Speaker. What is the guiding factor in making that particular decision? There are many times, Mr. Speaker, where you find an officer sits at a government office because they come from Kericho, then they determine, they're supposed to be built something here. You take it to Kericho. Sometimes even programs that have got absolutely nothing to do with the regions that they come from, but out of just this desire, wanting to maybe be popular or I don't know, do what, many institutions actually, and there are regions that have suffered under that kind of political patronage over the years, Mr. Speaker. The Ministry of Health, I don't know which other ministry, Mr. Speaker, National Treasury as well. This council will address such matters, Mr. Speaker, and it is important that we give it the sufficient powers to ensure that we spread development evenly across the country. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move and request the Senator for Nandi, Senator Samson Cherargei to second.
Senator Cherargei, as you take the mic, the Leader of Majority, I take comfort in the assurance that you gave as regards those who are doing the drafting from the Office of the Attorney General and their responsibility to make sure they do the right thing. I'm sure the AG is listening and will definitely take responsibility in future legislations that come to this House. Senator Fonandi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I rise to second this bill, this very critical bill, I want to pick it from where the majority leader was ably moved the bill to make a few observations, because the rest of the bill is more of cleanup. I think what is happening in the state law office is just to reset the old way into doing new things in terms of recognition. Majority leader, it's important to note that most of the bills, for a number of years we have been with you together, we have noted that they always exclude the role of devolution. I don't think this is the first bill, but I hope you can escalate maybe to intergovernmental and other engagement through Senate Business Committee and leadership. That is, I want to confirm to you, Majority Leader, that that is the only engagement we will allow you to do. Any other engagement that was extended by Council of Governors, who are professional gossip club, you should not extend a similar courtesy. But on this one, with the State Attorney General, I think we are with you on this one. So, Speaker, as I say, on population and development is very key. The biggest fight is the fight for resources. The reason, and I'm happy the President is in northern Kenya for a couple of days, the reason maybe part of this country, especially northern Kenya, which has become the critical and sharp focus of the topical discourse, is because there is an agenda between population and area size. There are people who feel that more resources should be taken to Vihiga as opposed as to Mandera because of population density. There are people who believe that it doesn't make sense to do a road from Wajir, Mandera, Isiolo, all the way to Nairobi. Yet the traffic is not as much like Mau Summit, Rironi. So Speaker, the conversation surrounds only on population and development. And I remember under Article 215, the role of community has always been based on the population, especially on the fourth basis formula that we passed, was normally based on population, based on land size, Mr. Speaker, and also the poverty index. Mr. Speaker, that is the reason that population is very important, and that is why the anchoring of Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill 2023 as processed by the National Assembly is critical. Mr. Speaker, secondly, it is estimated by, because the population census, as majority leaders put it, was contested in court, but according to World Bank records, the population of Kenya is estimated to be between 50 to 56 million. The projection by 2050, Mr. Speaker, by the World Bank is that Kenya will have a population between 85 million to 97 million who will be in this country by 2050. This, Mr. Speaker, indicates that 44% to 50% of Kenyans will live in urban areas, and that is why the foresight of President William Ruto to do affordable housing in our major centers, especially in our counties. This is the foresight many people who are myopic in their thinking, Mr. Speaker, do not think. Because the projection, almost half of this country's population will living in urban centers. What will they need? Affordable housing, sewerage system, road network, and other basics in life, Mr. Speaker, and security in urban centers. So the foresight of the president in doing affordable housing is perfectly in order. The naysayers, the sunbalat of this era of ours, will not see the value until 2050, when 50% of Kenya's population will be living. Mr. Speaker, the sad news is in China. So, Speaker, according to the World Bank, because I was looking at the comparison, is that China, as of 2022, had a population of 1.426 billion. And I saw one of the biggest cities, a small city, like Mulot, has close to 400 million, Mr. Speaker. Or Chepseor, somewhere in Kericho. Or Oyugis, Mr. Speaker, is running effectively with a population of almost 400 million people, Mr. Speaker. Yet their population in total is 1.426 billion. Mr. Speaker, what is happening in China is a sad story. There is a decline in birth. People are no longer giving birth because of the policy of two-child. Now the government has relaxed. They have said open everything that needs to be open to get more population. But by 2050, the population would have declined to 1.3 billion. In Kenya, the average family size is 6. If you are a senator and you are doing below 6, you are doing badly. That will undermine the growth of, in terms of even resources, Mr. Speaker, development, Mr. Speaker, and even the issue of voting. We are politicians, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, even as we move ahead, and I'm happy, I met Senator Danson Buya Mungatana Mulamwamba, Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence. Oh, Doctor. I met Senator Dr. Danson Mungatana somewhere in the city, and I'm happy, and I can confirm to this House, the children he was working with was more than 6. So we want people to follow in the footsteps of Senator Danson Mungatana so that we can have population, we have development, Mr. Speaker, for easy planning, Mr. Speaker.
Senator, wait, I've not given you the mic. You don't seem to catch the speaker's eye, and I'm sure you've noted that this new system do not have a button for intervention. The only way you can catch the eye of the speaker is probably to raise up your hand and or shout. And Senator Kajwang, I noted that you are not at ease when Senator Cherargei was contributing. What is your intervention, Senator Kajwang? Clerk, give Senator Moses Kajwang. Yes, you actually did.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've sat in this chamber for 10 years, but we seem to be regressing as far as technology is concerned. But my point of order was, as Senator Cherargei seconds this particular bill, is in order to celebrate Senator Dr. Danson Mungatana for having upwards of 6. I think even my deputy party leader, Senator Osotsi, when we went for his celebration, he introduced his children and said, put a rider, that those are the ones that I know for now. So is it in order to celebrate people like Dr. Mungatana and Senator Osotsi for having many children, when Kenya's population policy aims at reducing the fertility to 2.6 births by 2030, 2.6, and aims at increasing contraceptive usage to 70%. Mr. Speaker, how can Senator Cherargei celebrate a population policy of that nature? That
Senator
population
Kajwang,
policy should be shredded.
Senator Kajwang, take your seat. Senator Cherargei's celebration was to the extent of the number of children that the Honorable Dr. Mungatana had on that particular day they met in the streets. He did not speak to the policy and thereafter. So, Cherargei, proceed to contribute on your point. I rule you out of order, Senator Kajwang. Senator Cherargei, proceed to second the motion.
You know, my chair is in the eye of the storm this week, and it is understandable. But you know, Mr. Speaker, on a lighter note, you know, you cannot discredit is doing very well with 359 million. I think what I was referring to is to analysis of Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, Mr. Speaker, where they found in northern part of Kenya, a family has an average of 6 children. Mr. Speaker, this population density will go in line with development. We must agree, like for example here, Ruiru, the per square kilometer that live in Marsabit and the ones that live in Ruiru is totally different. Within 1 square kilometer, you will get up to population of 12 households per square kilometer, Mr. Speaker. So that is my argument, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of human capital development. I'm happy the World Bank, Mr. Speaker, has recognized that human capital development is very, very important. And to the information of my chair of Public Accounts Committee, China is giving out incentives to get more children as a way of improving so that they can stop declining. I was, Mr. Speaker, with a friend who is a French, and they were telling me the more you give back, the more you get incentives. But I want to discourage the Kenyan government having people like Senator Otsosi, Senator Dr. Mungatana. If you give them incentives, including Okiya Mutata, they might get up to 100 children, which will strain on our hard-earned resources in this country. So, Speaker, finally, because it's a very straightforward matter, or there was a, I don't know whether Senator, through the chair, whether Senator Kajwang was, Akuku Danger was a voter in his county. You should see the value of Akuku Danger because he has more than 100 children. The issue of IMF, Mr. Speaker, the issue of poverty index, this will go hand in hand with population. Mr. Speaker, this council is very critical because they will assist in terms of projection to Commission of Revenue Allocation, Mr. Speaker, to projections and midterm plans by both the national and county governments. Mr. Speaker, I think we will amend at the third reading clause number 8, Mr. Speaker, to ensure counties are and they are able to be part and parcel of this board because we want them to have a fair share. Not the Council of Governors, because, Mr. Speaker, you and me know as lawyers that Council of Governors is not anchored in law. It's basically a club of professional gossip members that they need to transform. And I think those are policy issues, Mr. Speaker, we should be sitting to discuss. They should bring that to anchor. County Assemblies Forum, the SOCAT, AMCA Association, and also Council of Governors, Mr. Speaker. I have seen, Mr. Speaker, because this issue of population and development going on, and I want to inform the majority leader that the governors who are enjoying retreat somewhere in Kilifi, when most of their population are languishing in poverty, including in Kericho, Mr. Speaker, most of them are proposed equitable shareable revenue of 534 billion. And I want to appeal through the majority leader and members of this House, Mr. Speaker, through you, that our Finance and Budget Committee should not meet the Council of Governors to discuss anything in terms of resource allocation until they honor the constitutional obligations in appearing before the Senate committees, Mr. Speaker. That is the only decent way, Mr. Speaker. And my question, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, why are you afraid to account for? Accountability is part of principles of leadership and integrity by Chapter 6. And Article 10, the rule of law, good governance. Good governance means that you are able to account for the resources you are giving. Mr. Speaker, if you feel the accountability is too much, take a walk, resign. Allow other Kenyans to occupy those offices. Mr. Speaker, even in your house, when I grew up, I used to see my mother oversighting my father. When he goes and sells a cow in Chepterit, there is a place called Chepterit where we sell cows every Wednesday, Mr. Speaker. I used to hear my mother asking my father, where are the proceeds of selling the cow? That is also part of oversight, Mr. Speaker. That is what Senator Ososi is just asking. But now we are escalating to the level of the Mr. Speaker. And I want to confirm to this House, Mr. Speaker, because we are discussing the issue of population and development, that as a committees of the Senate, we shall not be intimidated, we shall not be blackmailed, Mr. Speaker. You cannot buy a Christmas tree in December of 3.6 million, which is worth 120,000 shillings, and you expect us to clap for you or give you standing ovation, like Bungoma did. You cannot do an housewarming party for the Speaker, like what happened in Viga, where Senator Otsosi comes, and you expect the committee to celebrate and give you a clap, Mr. Speaker. You cannot purchase 55.6 million worth of seedlings in Mandera, where drought is ravaging, and you expect the committee to celebrate you, Mr. Speaker. I want to celebrate, Mr. Speaker. I saw, Mr. Speaker, what shocked me is Elgeyo Marakwet County. They have what we call seedlings and biological assets of 274 million, Mr. Speaker. And when we found out, under the financial statements, 274 million, what is it for? We were told it includes semen. You know semen, beguza, the ones that are used to procreate. So we were wondering, how can you put semen as part of the assets? Do you expect us to sit and clap for you? We can, Mr. Speaker. We can. When you come to Nandi, Chepterwe has told hospital, Kobuja Sub-County Hospital has told, Kapsengere Hospital, I know Senator Otsosi knows Kapsengere Hospital has told, Mother and Baby in Kapsabet Town has told, leakages of revenue in Kaimosi Agricultural Training College, leakages of revenue, Mr. Speaker, in Kiborogok Tea Estate. You want us to give standing ovation to governors when they are mismanaging and running down our counties and not taking care of our value, Mr. Speaker. That is very unfortunate, Mr. Speaker. And even in Kericho, where the area governor of Kericho was opening substandard market stalls, Mr. Speaker, with pomp and color, with the governor of Nandi. In fact, the mistake that governor of Kericho did was to benchmark with the worst governor in the history of this republic by the name Governor. How can you invite? I saw, Mr. Speaker, I was embarrassed. And that project was done by World Bank, but it was messaged by the county, Mr. Speaker. In fact, I want to request the Committee of Trade to visit Kericho. I am told, even in Litein town, where he went to put Cabros, the governor, when it floods, there is no drainage. The whole county is turned into river like Nineveh or like Victoria, Mr. Speaker. The stores that are in Kericho town, they don't have even ventilation. They are substandard, Mr. Speaker. I want to request the Trade Committee to visit Kericho County to save our people from the Pharaoh, Mr. Speaker. We must save them. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to go further than that, but to say the rest of clauses I just clean up, and so that I can allow my colleagues to contribute. Mr. Speaker, population and development is very critical. That is what we support, Mr. Speaker. And I know as a lawyer, you know the projections we do as a country. You have seen John Badi, the CS of National Treasury, talking about inflation rate. The population pressure will continue, Mr. Speaker. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, Nairobi is estimated to have a 4 million. Is it 4 million population, Mr. Speaker, if my memory serves me right? That 4 million population, 4 million, is occupying Nairobi, Mr. Speaker. 4 million. What does it mean? It has given pressure on sewerage.
roads, water, infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, when you go to Kilimani, in conclusion, and you know all of us live in this city, the potholes that are in Kilimani is shocking. And the people who are destroying roads are people who are doing uprising buildings in Kilimani. So we want to know who approves them. So, Speaker, I want to thank President William Ruto in conclusion because he has come to rescue Nairobi. Because the current governor was running Nairobi into serious. Under Article 187, at least the transfer of functions has been done to ensure national government will assist Nairobi City County in garbage collection because the Governor Sakaja tenure has become unfortunate and a disaster, Mr. Speaker. And I hope the MCAs of Nairobi are watching this. We need Nairobi that is functional. We need Nairobi that has access to water. But I want to thank the national government for coming to rescue Nairobi from Sakaja's administration mismanagement in this department. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, allow me to end there and to second this bill. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Cherargei, on a number of occasions, the Speaker was tempted to remind you of the provisions of Standing Order 120, but even as you submitted, you made several detours under the rule of relevance, but you managed to bring yourself back on track. And it is important, though, to be reminded of that particular standing order. Now, Honorable Senators, I now propose the question that the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bills number 72 of 2023, be now read a second time. Honorable Senators, this bill is now available for debate. And from my request list, Senator Mugatana Danson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to debate the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bills number 72 of 2023. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support that this bill be read a second time. Mr. Speaker, when we say that we want now, through this bill, to anchor the gazetted institution, the Population Council, in law, some people think it is just another thing we are doing. I have a practical example, Mr. Speaker. Many years when we were under the Kibaki administration, Mr. Speaker, I personally pushed for the establishment of the Coconut Board. And the Coconut Board was set up through a presidential proclamation, and it was gazetted. But, Mr. Speaker, without a proper law to anchor that institution, with time, Mr. Speaker, and administrations that followed, they were denied budgets, Mr. Speaker. They were not given a proper budget line. As a result, the Coconut Board went on to die a natural death. Mr. Speaker, so when we say that we want to anchor this particular institution, the Council of Population, in law, we are not doing something that is in the air. We are doing something that will ensure that this organization will continue to subsist even beyond the current administration and future administration, and it will only be possible to remove it if another law is passed that will remove this from existence. Mr. Speaker, I therefore start by saying that is a good move and it will help anchor the functions of this council. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the draft bill that we are debating today, there is a passage that I think the clause needs to be looked at afresh. Mr. Speaker, this type of drafting has been criticized before, but I want to put it again on record, that it is wrong for someone to sit here in Nairobi and decide that the only county of the 47 counties in Kenya that needs to host a headquarter of any important institution is Nairobi. Mr. Speaker, why put it in the law that the headquarters of this organization will be in Nairobi? Mr. Speaker, what should stop in future for this organization to be headquartered in Tana River County? Mr. Speaker, this kind of central thinking, kind of centralized thinking, as if we have only one county in the rest of this Kenya, we should discourage it. And the drafters in the office of the Attorney General, maybe they are old people, they need to go on retirement. They need to know that this country now has 47 counties. You don't draft a bill that subscribes the headquarters of an important organization such as this in Nairobi and make it very difficult for future counties to inherit that, that facility. Mr. Speaker, as we sit here today, there is no national headquarters in Tana River County. No building, no structure from the national headquarters. So here in Nairobi County, there are so many headquarters, there are so many institutions that are headquartered here. Why should we pass this law that says that even the National Population Council should be headed in Nairobi? Why? Mr. Speaker, new thinking needs to be injected. I represent this Senate in the Pan-African Parliament where we sit in Johannesburg on behalf of this country. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the South African setup, you have the Parliament sitting in Cape Town, many miles away. You have the judiciary in Johannesburg. You have the executive in Pretoria. And this is the kind of thinking that we should have. Why should the Population Council be put here? If you don't want to bring it in Tana River, why not bring it here to Machakos? Why are you congesting Nairobi? And you are a Population Council. And you know one of your functions is to make sure that there is balanced development. Why not take it to Mombasa? Why not take it to Nakuru? Why not take it to Kisumu? Mr. Speaker, we've got to have more creative thinking within the cadres of the drafters. Don't just copy-paste old legislation that have been passed by time. I appeal to the Committee of Labor in the Senate to have a clean look of this and make an amendment. And if you don't, I will propose that amendment. We should remove that kind of old legislative drafting. But Mr. Speaker, coming to the importance of this law, this law is so critical, Mr. Speaker. It is so critical that we should have a proper population council, and it should be funded adequately. Mr. Speaker, we were in Uganda for the East African Games. And for those like me who would go out to jog outside, just there in Kampala, you would see a very nice big building that is the center of population statistics in Kampala. Kenya, we don't have that. And Mr. Speaker, this is a smaller economy by far, but they have started doing things that are even surprising us. Mr. Speaker, we should have done that. We should have passed this law a long time ago. We should give adequate facilitation, adequate funding to this organization
when it is anchored in law. Why? Because, Mr. Speaker, its functions are very important. When you come to youth and employment, many of us in our age now, we have children who are graduating or are in postgraduate in university. And these children are all coming out in their thousands every year into the job market. Mr. Speaker, we need a strong population council that is anchored in law, that will be able to do planning. For example, Mr. Speaker, we'll need to have a plan on industrialization. Where are these industries supposed to be? How should we locate them? When the potential investors come to Kenya, where should they be encouraged to go? What are the demographic trends that will guide location of factories, amongst other factors? So that, Mr. Speaker, we can use the data, accurate population data, to enable proper planning for the youth population that is coming out. Mr. Speaker, health facilities. Many times, Mr. Speaker, we've had huge campaigns. We say we want to eradicate polio campaigns. We want to give mosquito nets, anti-mosquito, anti-malaria campaigns. Now, most times, Mr. Speaker, what we have seen is very unscientific and very discriminatory practices coming from the Ministry of Health headquarters. Because what they do, they say we are distributing these mosquito nets on a pilot scheme. And then the bosses there, the pilot will go to their counties. And then after 6 counties are done, you'll be told that pilot project disappeared. So then you'll find counties where malaria is actually a threat, such as Tana River County. You are not on that pilot project, you lose out.